There are many ways that a person can choose to get into photography. Some can do it for fun, some do it for money, and others decide to become photographers because they fall in love with the art. And on our show, On the Mic this week, please join us in a talk about a person who left his career behind to study photography and to become a freelance photographer.
In a small studio deep in an alley in the center of Hanoi is where Na Sơn, a freelance photographer, lives. Like other photographers around the city, he spends his time traveling, shooting photos, editing them, and then sending the photos to newspapers. But if that's all he has, he's no different from everyday photographers. So to know more about this man, let's talk to him. For all audiences of On the Mic video before, self-introduction is very important. So what can you say about yourself?
Somebody called me like the photography artist, but I prefer the name is they call me like the photojournalist or photographer, because it's actually my work now. I work as the freelance photographer that's based in Hanoi.
Your name is Sơn, but you always try to hide your full name from all others and using the name Na Sơn instead. Could you tell us the reason why and what is the meaning of that name?
Before I was a businessman, and when I switched to my new job, and I just thought that I have to have like the brand name. It has many meanings, like the Na, N-A, could be from photography in Vietnamese, nhiếp, or maybe is from the girl's name, for example. Who knows?
Every photographer chooses a style for himself. And what can you tell us about the style you are following right now?
The first time when I be the professional photographer, I shot a lot. Sometimes I shot fashion, sometimes I shot daily life. But after all, I feel that my strength was in daily life and photojournalism. That's why now I focus more in those fields other than the landscape or fashion or some other.
And among the thousands of photos you have taken, what are the ones that you feel you are most satisfied with?
Among those, I have some like this one. This one I shot in last year in end of September during the Cần bridge collapse, and there's many photographers, many journalists there. They captures about the rubble of the bridge, about the victims and their relatives. And I found this man. He was waiting for information from the rescue force for his son, which is went missing after the collapse. And this I shot in the afternoon time. After the whole day, he's waiting there, and he felt. I can say that he felt so tired, so hopeless.
On September the 26th, 2007, the most terrible accident in Vietnam's recent history happened in Cần City. The Cần Bridge, which was under construction, collapsed. The accident claimed the lives of 46 people and injured 82 others. Coming to the site to cover the news, Sơn said he succeeded in capturing unforgettable moments there. Sơn said only when he joined the relatives of the victims could he feel the pain they felt and bring emotional impact to his works. And that's why his photos were used by many newspapers and magazines at that time.
I also like the other photograph that I shot in October last year, 2007, after the Lekima storm, and there a flooding in the north of Vietnam. I saw the little boy, he's just only 6 years old. He tried practicing some swimming the first time in his life because of the flooding in his house. And I shot that one. And then the pictures was published by many newspapers and magazines in the world.
Photographers often spend much of their time traveling and shoot photos. So can you name us the trip that you had the most impression?
I think the most impressive trip I ever had, that the trip July to August 2006, during the conflict between the Hezbollah force and the Israeli army in Lebanon. First time in my life I can see, I can touch to the war very close. I saw the people die, I saw a lot of refugees in Lebanon, and even the results of the trips, like the photographs that I take, is not as good as I expected before I came, but it changed me a lot in my mind, my point of view about the life, about people, and especially about the career that I choose.
Going to a place where war has just broken out is not a wise choice to make. But for Sơn, a love and responsibility for photojournalism made him spend money for an air ticket to Lebanon in 2006, where he risked his life during the 34-day war between the Hezbollah and Israel, with only one aim: bringing readers the images of the destruction of war and the miserable fate of the people caught in it. And from your point of view, what do you think about Vietnamese photography?
In Vietnam, there are many photographers so far, but the increasing of numbers of photographers is not said that the Vietnamese photography developed, because in reality, a lot of young photographers, they still follow the very old way that that people, they shoot photos about 40, 50 years ago with no chance. For recent years, the Vietnamese photographer, they won a lot of prize, international prize, like some gold medals of the FIAF or some others. But for some other big contests and competitions in the world, like World Press Photos, but we have nothing. But I hope in some years later, or in the future, very near, and the young photographer in Vietnam, we can change that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.